What is happening, everyone? We just got down here. Beautiful day here in the Northeast. We got a little something special going on today. Kind of. My truck, my Toyota Prado 1KZ turbo diesel. I have been looking this up for quite some time. Now, I haven't got around to really modifying the truck yet. I've had the truck for about a year now. It's been great. It's like one of my favorite vehicles I've ever owned. However, there's a bunch of stuff you could do to these 1KZ trucks and get a little more power out of, and they say it's actually a little safer to do this than in stock form. So this is called the Resistor mod. It will cost you literal cents to do this if you have a 1KZ, but you can only do it on the earlier 1KZ trucks. So like a High Ace or a Prado or a Helix Surf or anything with a 1KZ. There's two different kinds of pumps in these 1KZ vehicles. So the later ones you're not going to be able to do this to. The earlier ones you can. So like mine's a 97, so mine is an earlier one. You could see down here we have two plugs coming off the pump. One's brown, one's gray. And you could actually modify both of them. So I just unplugged the gray one. Next to it is the brown one. The gray one controls your timing. So there's actually a resistor on the other side that this plugs into. And the brown one controls your pump pressure. Today, we're just gonna mess around with the timing. It basically corrects the timing to where it kind of should be. Toyota sets it up for emissions reasons. But if you change it back to a more neutral setting with a new resistor, I'm going to tell you guys which one to get, then supposedly you pick up a little bit of power. The EGTs stay lower. So from what I read, you might use a little more fuel. That's debatable. But we got a 1.5 kilowatt resistor. So the ones that I used, and from what I have gathered, the color code is going to be brown, green, red, gold, and that will bring you to a 1.5. And that's a 1.5, I should say. So we're going to try that. You can start messing with the pump pressures after you do a couple mods. So any of these mods you do, you're gonna want an EGT gauge, and you're going to wanna watch your EGTs to make sure they don't get too high so you don't have a full meltdown. I'm not responsible if you blow your car up. I'm not responsible if you have a full nuclear meltdown. I'm just telling you what I'm doing to my truck. So I have an HKS EGT gauge in there so I can monitor everything. It's never really got too hot. It actually seems like it runs really well, so that's why I've always been nervous to do this. But apparently the timing one is no big deal, and it just helps it run a little better. If you do the pump one as well, I'm not an expert on it. I have not done it yet, but apparently you need a full exhaust and definitely an EGT gauge for sure to keep your EGTs looked at. And maybe a bigger turbo they're talking about. I'm not there yet. I'm just doing the timing one for today, see if it works out. If I don't get any positive gains out of it, I'm going to switch it back to stock. But we have a 1.5 kilowatt resistor, and I just bent it into like this little plug basically, and then you're going to plug it in to where the gray plug went into. All right, so after it's plugged in, you're going to want to tape up that plug and just make sure that resistor does not fall out. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. So I'm going to grab some tape, tape it up, and start it up, see how it seems to run. We're going to fire it up and go for a ride and see if we feel any kind of difference, and keep our eyes on that EGT gauge. If I can't feel any difference, then it is going back to stock, so I don't have to worry in the back of my head. Look at the turkey. Get out of there, turkey. I got some parts that came in at my house, so I'm just taking a ride there to test this out and to pick the parts up. Seems fitting for a good test drive. Definitely feels like it pulls a little harder. Can't really tell though. Feels pretty good. It is definitely hard to tell if it makes a difference though. I'm debating whether I should keep it in there or not. Maybe keep it in there for a day and see if I can notice a difference. It almost does feel like the truck's a little bit smoother with the resistor mod done. So we're gonna keep it on for a couple days. We're gonna check how the fuel mileage is and see how it runs. But I'd chalk it up to a success so far. I do want to get some mods done, like a full exhaust, maybe upgrade the turbo to a little bit bigger with a steel wheel turbo setup, and try and get a little more power out of this truck. But it's just been such a good rig that I'm almost afraid to touch it. Today is going to be the first day that we pulled one of the bikes out. So I have not started this since last season. This is, I don't know if I ever showed you guys this one. This is like a daily get around bike. It's not a super built bike like my CR500 is. That thing is more of a toy. This is more of a get around town bike. It's been super reliable for years. This is a 91 XR250L, so street legal version. When I got it, it had 800 miles on it. And it had a completely melted down motor. So I'm assuming that someone had put it into like storage without fluids, and whoever ended up with the bike started it up, tried riding it, and there was no oil in it, and just complete meltdown. Crank was toasted, cylinder was completely toasted, the head was melted on it. But I got it for like a couple $100. Obviously it was not Supermoto, it was just a regular dirt bike, but I got the paperwork with it. And it was in really nice shape because it was super low mile. Got a metal tank, no rust on it on the inside. And I've put probably 2,000 miles on it since. Took the motor apart, bought a crank off eBay for like 40 bucks, but it was a mint stock crank. Split the cases, regasketed it, put the new crank in, took all the little pieces out that from the piston that exploded. So new crank, existing cylinder, but what I did was, since there's so much meat on these 250 cylinders, brought it to the machine shop and did a 5mm overbore. That's massive overbore, and it brought it from a 248 to a 277. So it is now 277 cc. It's a big bore kit for it with a German made Wasner piston. Bought a new head, and when I was putting the new head on, I did a cam, a stage 1 cam in it. Besides that, rebuilt the whole carburetor with, so the L for emissions has a pumper carb on it. The R model does not, and the R model makes a little more power. So I kept my pumper carb, but I took the needle and seat and jetting out of an R model, put that in the carb. I slightly port and polished the head. The exhaust header is off of a 2002 to 2004 model. It is 2mm bigger per pipe, so 4mm overall bigger than the stock one, going to a 96 to 04 FMF silencer. A lot of people said that the 96 to 04 exhaust would not work on these earlier bikes, and that's just nonsense. It bolted right on. It just did not have the bolt that bolts right here, but it bolts on everywhere else, and I've never had a problem with it. So, and I also port matched the header pipe to the head, so that is all port matched as well. And I've been driving it for years now. I geared it, I did the wheel set, made the wheel set, I did all the wheels myself, spoked them all up and trued them, and then I had them balanced and just double checked, and they came out perfect. I've had this thing around 85 miles an hour, and there's no shakes or shimmies. It drives beautiful. But anyways, it's been sitting since last year. Definitely could use an oil change, but I got parts that just came in, so we're gonna see if we can fire it up, and if it fires up, I'm going to get my parts from my house. A couple pumps with the pumper carb, Get some fuel in the cylinder. And then with the big bore kit, it does not have a compression release on it. So you gotta find top dead. And then just... Not bad considering it's been sitting for 5 or 6 months. All right, test ride went awesome. Rode this to my house, picked my parts up, and every time I take this out after it sits for a while, I remember how peppy this little 250 is. It pulls really nice for a small CC bike. It is super fun to ride. Every year I have the same complaint though, the suspension is a little soft. So maybe this year I am going to look into stiffening it up a little bit, and then we can have some real fun banging some corners on it. But yeah, I need to find my GoPro mount for the handlebars so I can take you guys along for a ride, because it's definitely a blast just killing corners with it and getting the thing sideways. All right, so we have the Sima out and we are heading to DJ's. We're gonna go see the boys up at the shop, and this is really the first time I'm driving my Sima home, because DJ shop is near my house, which is about an hour from my shop. So this is pretty much the farthest drive I've ever taken in the Sima. So we'll see how it does. And I have speed bumps in my condo, so hopefully I clear them without damaging my lip, because it's a very expensive lip. So you have to take it real easy going over there. All right, we finally made it to DJ's. What are you doing here?
A little pit bike action.
Having a little pit bike action. It's summertime.
Yeah, it's nice out. No sweatshirt.
That's it.
Great.
It's fucking beautiful.
Everyone left me for dead. I'm a lone soldier.
Lone soldier. I got here late today.
A little bit.
He tricked me with the wheel swap.
We had him out today, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I thought you guys were coming down.
I couldn't risk it all the way, but then we were close, and then I realized I had no headlights, so I knew I was gonna be there probably.
Yeah, I was planning on coming up fucking sooner, but one thing led to another, and I'm fucking late. Oh, he finally got his car in here to get some work done.
Oh, yeah.
Solid. Can't go wrong with an 8.6.
Get in there.
Nice. Little spray action.
Little mid-sheave, semi-sheave.
Donald's S14's getting the rear end getting all fixed up.
Just getting the BBL.
You already have the piece, right? Yeah, it came off that parts car.
Yeah, Brian wants to go extra with it. He's making panels with it. Like, he made this.
Really?
To cut that out.
Wow, not bad.
Not bad. I was like, we could have just made a
How the fuck did he stamp it?
bead roller.
Yeah, oh, with the die? Okay. So Brian's got some skill. I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good.
Yeah, that impressed me.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive. Where's Dagnell today? Oh, midnight shift. I forgot he was on the midnight shift this week. Yeah, no Mr. Dagnell. All right, we got the professional washer gonna do some work to the Sima, as you can get this thing shining like brand new. Look at that, that's legit, right out of the van. That's legit, real professional.
Waze Auto Detailing, mobile detailing services. There's his phone number. Send him whenever you please, or if you need a detail.
This is your guy if you want your car detailed. Look at that coating in action. Yeah, it comes right off. Now, you didn't put no snake oil on this?
No, I did now. Not snake oil, but I put something on it.
You put something on it, a little
But there was
sauce.
something on it before.
Nice.
I could tell. Snake oil. No.
Snake oil salesman. All right, so the night is over and I am heading home. So all the cars are parked nice and sleepy. Nice and sleepy. Mr. Kellogg's coming home tonight. My car's all clean. I've never driven this back to my house, so hopefully I don't fucking rip the front end off on my speed bumps. Gonna go real careful, but that's all, folks. You guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.